This is me, Jake, and I started my pressure washing business about 5 years ago now. But I've ran into a little bit of a problem with my new setup. But for context, we need to rewind a little bit. When I first started this business, I was working out the back of my partner's Toyota RAV4. I literally had about £400 to spend on kit, and this was when I bought my first little Parker brand pressure washer. Within about 6 months, I managed to work my way up to buying my first ever van, which was a huge milestone for me, having never been self-employed before. And now I had a bit more room, I was able to upgrade to a slightly bigger pressure washer. And plus the fact that my old one broke because it wasn't really designed to run every day for multiple hours at a time. This new one was still very much a budget machine at about £900, which I had a bunch of problems with. And that's one thing I learned very quickly in this industry: if you buy cheap, you buy twice. I actually visited my local pressure washer sales and service with this machine to see if they could upgrade it to stop it breaking every few weeks, which they did actually manage to do. Then I got offered this used engine and frame from another local pressure washing business in the next town over. They were buying all new kit, and so this one was just going spare. I think I paid just under £4,000 for the Honda GX 630 engine, paired with a brand new 30 litre per minute pump. And it was all packed neatly into this nice little frame. Now I had a proper van mounted setup for the first time. And this machine was capable of way more than what I needed it for, but at the time I saw it as an opportunity to future-proof my setup and just improve efficiency, which it did. And I've had this machine now for 2.5 years, and I've not had a single problem with it, which I think is amazing. Fast forward about a year, and I started getting a little bit fed up of working out of such a small van. So I ended up selling that one, along with my pressure washer, to my good friend Rich. Hopefully he didn't see that video where I flooded the van. Anyway, I bought a massive Mercedes Sprinter. It was a H2L2. And this was like another incredible milestone for my business. But here's the problem. After just a few weeks of enjoying this massive van and all the lovely new space I've got, I hired Jakey. He's my first ever employee. And to make sure he could be as useful as possible from day one, he needed his own machine, which meant that all that space I'd just freed up was immediately going to get filled. I got in touch with Pressure Washer Sales and Service in Pershore again, and I asked them for a custom pressure washer to surprise Jakey with on his first day. I specifically wanted a 21 litre per minute Honda GX 390 electric start with a high pressure hose reel mounted to the machine. So this meant that I could tie down the machine and mount it in the van for 98% of jobs. But for those other awkward jobs where we still needed to pull the machine out of the van, we still had the versatility to be able to do that. And of course, it had to be orange. And they absolutely smashed it. It was perfect. And again, with over a year of running this machine, sometimes for 6+ hours a day, 5 days a week, it's not had a single problem. And I think that's pretty good going. And of course, with a second machine comes a second surface cleaner, a second buffer tank, more lances and nozzles. And for a year now, this van has been feeling really messy, disorganized and chaotic. I'm working out of this space almost every single day, and so I knew something had to change. And that's when Ollie from PWSAS reached out, and he said, as a little thank you for highlighting the business in some of the videos I've done over the last few years, they'd like to build me something a bit special. He knew that I was struggling for space, and he had some cool ideas for how we could solve that problem. And with Jakey flying off to Australia at the end of September, this was perfect timing to make some modifications to my overcrowded setup. So the brief was simple: condense my setup and maximise space. But there was a slight catch. I'd say I'm a fairly laid-back person, but when it comes to functionality and design, I can be very particular. And I knew that once the work began on the new setup, there's no going back, and so it had to be right first time, else I just wouldn't have been happy. And that might sound quite entitled and ungrateful considering that I wouldn't be paying for anything here, but this equipment is the backbone of my business, and because I use it every day, I know what I like and I know what I need from it to make my life easier. So I asked if I could be involved in the design, and Ollie said, okay, let's do it. So I had a few requests straight off the bat, which meant the job got a bit more complicated. I wanted to maintain the functionality of the side door, so I wanted to be able to get in and out of the van comfortably while carrying equipment. Another thing I wanted to be able to do was adjust the pressure and the revs on the engine easily without having to step inside the van. Next, I wanted a second water inlet on the buffer tank with a float valve, just in case we needed to plug in a second water supply if we had particularly low pressure from the customer's tap. I also wanted to keep this outlet of the bottom of the water tank free because I planned to install some window cleaning equipment at a later date. So we sketched out a few different designs on the back of a piece of paper with their lead fabricator Charlie, who I've now discovered is very talented and absolutely meticulous when it comes to his work. Then I took some rough measurements in the back of my van and brought them into Blender, which is a free 3D modelling software which I'd used to make some 3D art in the past. I've never used it with actual real world dimensions, so this was going to be a little bit of a learning exercise for me, and the whole project was relying on these measurements being correct, so I was a little bit worried that I was going to mess the whole thing up. The overall idea was that we were going to combine Jakey's machine with mine, get rid of this wheelie bin buffer tank, and have both machines draw from one much bigger 650 litre water tank. And for reference, the old one that was mounted in the van was only 250 litres, and then Jakey had a 220 litre wheelie bin. So we're actually adding an extra 180 litres to our total potential buffer just in case we need it. So we started by placing that sideways in the back of the van, and the water tank would determine the footprint of the frame and how much room we had to play with for the rest of the kit. We thought it was a good idea to turn my machine sideways 90 degrees from how it was before, and then stack Jakey's machine on top so it wasn't taking up unnecessary floor space. This meant that the exhausts were pointing right at the firewall, which is a big problem and one that they were going to have to sort out later on. Then we needed to ditch this massive low pressure hose reel which we used to fill the buffer tank and find a way of stacking it neatly on the frame to save even more space. So I wanted a high pressure reel for my machine, another one for Jakey's machine, and then a third low pressure reel so that we could plug into the customer's tap. I really liked this design because I thought it was quite unique, but then we ended up settling on a much simpler design which actually saved a little bit more space in the end. I was really happy with how this was turning out. So Charlie got to work on fabricating this frame, and during this time I'm still using the van every single day, so Charlie didn't have the van there to be able to cross-reference his measurements. All he had to go off were those photos that I'd sent him earlier, and so if I've made any mistakes, it was going to cost a lot of time and money to put right. I lent Charlie my action camera so that he could get some time-lapse footage and record the process so that you guys could see it. Now, he's not the type to want to put himself in front of the camera, but he took it as a challenge, but I think he's absolutely smashed it, and the footage came out great. And I just want to emphasise that this is custom stuff. This isn't something you can just buy off the shelf. And I think it takes a very talented and experienced person to be able to start with a problem, come up with a functional design that actually works, and not only to fabricate it from scratch, with all the skills and experience that goes along with that, but also to avoid all the issues that arise with fitting all these different types of equipment together in such a compact way and having them actually work in harmony together. And to do this so confidently first time and send it off to powder coating without actually having test fitted it in the van, I think really speaks for itself. Okay, we're at Pressure Washer Sales and Service. Rich has got his new van. I've just stuck all my equipment in his just for now, next couple of days. Charlie's beavering away over here getting my old machine out. This is the last time the van is going to look like this. I've just had a sneak peek in the other unit at my new setup and it looks absolutely incredible. So we're getting rid of all this. It's all going to go. Charlie's just draining the tank. I'm so excited. Been working hard, haven't you?
Well, I'm trying to.
Goodbye for now. See you in 2 days.
So long.
I'm nervous. Why am I so nervous?
He's excited. He loves it.
So the frame came back from powder coating. Ollie rang me and he said, when can we have your van? To be on the safe side, they wanted a few days to disassemble my old equipment, mount it on the new frame, and leave plenty of time for testing. This ended up being actually really good timing because Rich had just got his new, much bigger van, and he's taking Jakey's place for the next 3 months and coming over from Walsall to work with me every day. So we were still able to work and we didn't have to reschedule anything that was already booked in the calendar. I felt a little bit bad that Rich had just got this new van for the first time and I'd immediately filled it with all my old equipment, but he's been really accommodating and happy to help me out. And so that we didn't have any downtime, Ollie also lent me one of his hire machines. And if you want to try one of these machines before you buy, I definitely recommend avoiding one of your local tool hire places and coming to someone like these guys instead that will actually hire out the equipment specific to the job that we do, rather than just some generic pressure washer with a Bowser attached to it designed for rinsing down building sites. Because believe me, I've done it, there is a big difference. Right then, time for the big reveal. Charlie's just finished washing the van for me. Both the machines are fitted. After a couple of days, long days of really hard work, many man hours, they're in. Should we have a little look? Right, Ollie, do you want to walk us through what we've done?
Your nice shiny new piece of kit. Yeah, we've used Jake's machines and we've designed a frame along with Charlie in our workshop.
So Charlie's fabricated this whole thing from scratch.
Him and Jake and myself have been working together to try and work out a way that we can use Jake's machines and save a lot of space in the van. One of the things that Jake wanted was that you can walk in this slide door.
That was a big request, wasn't it?
It was a request.
Being able to walk in and out.
It was an arm and an we were having an arm about it, but it's worked. It's worked really nicely.
It's perfect, there's so much room.
I'm really happy with it.
Setting the reels back like we've done there.
Having those three reels stacked on top of each other, you've got 50 metres of 3/4 inch low pressure inlet hose, 50 metres of high pressure hose for each machine on top. Everything is absolutely solid as well.
It doesn't move at all, does it?
The fuel tanks, we're trying to save some space and put them on top. So we've got 22 litre fuel tanks, they sit on top here.
So Jakey's had, was it a 7 litre fuel tank before?
Yeah.
So after a couple of days, after a couple of hours, we'd end up having to refuel Jakey's. Mine would go all day, but we'd keep having to refuel Jakey's. Now, you've removed the fuel tank with this adapter kit.
Yeah.
And now I've got a long run fuel tank on Jakey's machine as well.
You want pressure gauges.
Yeah.
So Charlie made these nice pieces here. And you've got the pressure gauges on top, and you've got a pressure regulator down here, so you can turn the pressure right down. On this machine you can get it right down to 40 bar and back up to 200 using those needle valves there.
I've not seen this style before, so this is new for me, but I've just had a play with them and they work really, really well. We've got the exhaust bypassing down out the floor through a nice custom made plate. It's so much quieter having them going through the floor, and every time we're approaching the machine to adjust the pressure, we're not getting blasted with exhaust fumes, so that's really nice.
You had to exhaust out somewhere, so the old one was coming out the side, which is fine, but it just meant there was a hole there that we were able to utilise and go straight through the floor, which just, I think, make it a lot nicer. Kept it all, directed it away from, there is a fuel tank under there, direct it away from that, making sure it's not going to hit anything. Utilise the battery that's just sat in the back there, so both machines are electric start, run off that battery. Fuel lines we've plumbed up nicely and kept out of the way.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Ooh. So I've got a nice big 650 litre tank now.
Tank's nice and big and sits nice at the back here. You'll
Super
be able to
wide.
put some toolboxes up here.
Yeah. There's no wasted room. Like, look how close it is. Like, both sides, it's perfectly up to the door, and there's no wasted room. It's like literally perfect. And we've got a spare fill valve here, so just in case for whatever reason the customer's tap isn't producing enough water to keep both machines running, I can always get another hose going from the neighbours and just plug it into there, and that's got a fill valve on the back as well, so it's never going to overfill.
We've got a drain just going through the floor,
Which I need to turn on now because I've got a full tank. I don't want to drive home with a full tank. Look how much space there is. It's brilliant. All that stuff. So I had Jakey's machine here, I had a big buffer tank, I had a massive hose reel, and now it's all just clear for activities. So that's draining out the bottom now.
and you can still walk in and out the side door.
Yeah, look at this. Look at all the room.
With these reels, you can get a stacking kit for them, which would have been all right, but we wanted to go the extra mile and make sure everything was a lot stronger. So Charlie has welded up a frame that these can bolt onto from behind here.
So this looks factory, but this is actually all of Charlie's work, this is.
So the frame of the machine and the frame for the hose reels is all one. So everything was able to be powder coated all together. These hose reels we've found to be really good. You can get these out the way as well if you need to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you didn't want to catch yourself on them, you can just lock them out. We use a nice stainless steel quick releases on ours.
They're the triple O-ring fittings, aren't they? So they're
we
proper high quality ones.
we've got the 3 O-rings in there. You can see them with the light.
Yeah.
Rather than the MIDI quick releases, which are like the brass ones you tend to see, they work, but they've got a single O-ring in. So
The amount of times those O-rings have failed.
Yeah.
Every month I was replacing them before, but these, I've never had a problem with these fittings. They're brilliant.
Yeah. Hose reels lock in, so there's a little locking mechanism there, which just means it's not going to unravel anymore when you've locked it away when you're travelling. So that can be just locked into that little hole there.
You've thought of everything. We've got the double inlet for the machines as well.
So rather than going for the single inlet, we doubled it up, so it's coming in either side of the pump, so you don't get any cavitation happening on one side of the pump.
I've never seen that before, but we've also got a filter on both of those inlets as well, so we're not going to suck any crap from the tank.
No.
I didn't know you could feed both sides of the pump like that. It's very cool. Right, Ollie, thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy. I'm over the moon. You guys have absolutely smashed it out of the park.
I'm chuffed with how it looks, and
It's brilliant.
looking forward to seeing it in action now.
If anyone else wants to get in touch, are you going to do more custom stuff like this? Because I know you've done stuff like this in the past. Like, is this something you're happy doing
Our
for?
aim really is to be able to build more custom work for everyone. So if you have anything that you want building, get in touch with us. So like with Jake's machines, we're able to use your machines and just build a frame around it and make it work better for you.
So rather than being stuck with what you've got, trying to cram it into whatever space you've got, you can actually have it custom fitted to your van, so it's much more easy to work from.
Most people have that progression of they'll buy some mobile kit, start putting it in their van, then you'll start seeing an increase in workload, and you want to make it easier to set up every time. You get a bit more money coming through, so that's the next step, is having it van mounted, and that's what we can do now.
Perfect. Thank you so much, mate.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you guys.
Thank you for trusting us with it.
Now, I do want to make sure that I say a huge thank you to not just Ollie and Charlie, but it was a huge team effort behind the scenes. And honestly, it sounds a bit silly, but I wasn't expecting them to go this far with it. I was expecting them to reuse a lot of my old kit, like the fuel tank, the hoses, the triggers, but they've replaced everything. Everything is brand new. The only things that I supplied were the 2 pressure washers and the water tank. And so I feel very grateful, incredibly fortunate that I'm in a position where this stuff happens to me. And I was talking to a chap I met the other day, and I told him I still can't believe that I was able to leave my 9-to-5 job, go self-employed, and still manage to pay all my bills, let alone get to this point. This is crazy to me, and the fact that you guys actually watch this stuff as well is even crazier. So thank you to Pressure Washer Sales and Service, and thank you to you guys for watching and making all this possible as well. If you made it to the end, you might as well subscribe, because I'm sure there's going to be much more to come. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Oh my god. No way. What the hell? Can't believe that's just happened. What came off? That came off. Oh dear. That's crazy.